and long suffering. Take a long time. That's what love is. Love is long suffering. We don't suffer very long, very well. It may be all right for a little while, but Lord, something got to happen here. This has been going on too long. I used to tell the members of Zion, as a pastor, I said, folks, it's all right to get sick, but don't stay sick too long. Because sick folks run out of visitation. They run out of, the urge to go see you. Well, it look like to me she ought to be up by now. He ought to be out of there by now. Something else is wrong, Rev, ain't it? Well, no, I keep going to see him. Why shouldn't you keep going to see him? Lord. So, lowliness and meekness, long suffering, and forbearing one another in love. That is, putting up with each other. Now, I know we don't like none of this. We ain't in love with this. We wish that we had it and possessed it. And maybe some of us do have it more than others. I would strongly suspect that Mother Motley has much of this. You can tell by the way she talks with people and reacts with them. She didn't get that way overnight. She was a teacher. And teachers had to be rough sometimes with them children pulling their ears and popping their hands. But we grow into these graces. But we have to practice them to get them right. So we're living in a society that shows very little love for a long time. What did we just say? Long suffering. I told you that was a rough word. We ain't going to suffer too long now. It's all right if I get in trouble and, you cuss me out once a day, every day for a week. That might be all right, but don't start on me next week. Because that's a little bit too long to suffer. I might start cussing back. And when we both get to cussing, there ain't no unity there, is it? There ain't no taking low, there ain't no purity, there ain't no love being demonstrated. Yeah. And you got to understand that Jesus did not come to save good little boys and girls. He while we were what? He died. Now he knows we aren't ready to do that. But he prepares us to give us gifts to face life and do what Alcoholics Anonymous does. When you get sober, one of the best ways to stay sober is to help another alcoholic to come to sobriety. A sinner saved by grace. The best way to grow in this race is to help another person to find Christ. Oh, Lord. That means love has to overshadow everything that we think about them and see a potential child of God. Don't care what he looks like, what she looks like, what she's doing, how long she's been doing it, how long he's been doing it. We look what beyond the fault and see the need. I changed that song a little bit for my own benefit. It's nice to say he looked beyond my fault, meaning he ignored them. No, he didn't. He looked at my faults. Directly at them and saw my need. Do you get what I'm talking about? He didn't look beyond them. He looked directly at them and saw that I was helpless, hopeless, without any faith, without anything to live for, and headed for a devil's hell. And his mercy and his grace took over. Suffered and bled and died. Now that's why he has a right to ask us to get right. Get ready. What are you talking about you sacrificing? What are you sacrificing? What are you really, what are you not forgiving? How can you not forgive when, look at what I forgave you of. Well, I ain't you. I know you're not. But I've been promoting you. I've been giving you grace every day of your life. Every time you wake up, there's some grace. Every time you wake up, there's some mercy. Every time you drive your car out in the street, there's some justice. There's some love. I'm checking you out every day, protecting you. I've got angels watching you, and you can't turn to your neighbor and say, I forgive you. So now you look at this a little different. You getting ready for some gifts. All right. Unity means lowliness and meekness, long-suffering, forbearing one another. That time went on by, didn't it? By lowliness, we are to understand humility, entertaining mean thoughts of ourselves, which is opposite to pride. By meekness, that excellent disposition of the soul, which makes men unwilling to provoke others. You won't deliberately try to get nobody stirred up, and not easily to be provoked or to offend with their infirmities. And it is opposed to anger, resentments, and peevishness. Long-suffering implies a patient bearing of injuries without seeking revenge. Whew, that's rough stuff there. Rough stuff, but that's what the Lord meant. He meant what he was saying. And he wanted us to strive to come down. And you mean to tell me I got to get into all this before I can get a gift? It's best. Forbearing one another in love signifies bearing their infirmities out of a principle of love, and so as not to cease to love them on account of these. Don't stop loving people on account of what they have done toward you or toward others, you know. The best Christians have need to bear one with another, and to make the best one of another, to provoke one another's graces and not their passions. We find much in ourselves which it is hard to forgive ourselves. And therefore we must not think it much if we find that in others which we think hard to forgive them. And yet we must forgive them as we forgive ourselves. Now, without these things, unity cannot be preserved. And when your unity is to come all the way down here. So we'll